Great. All right, next step. We're actually going to model a little bit of a detail sort of condition with this window. But I want to point out just something that's kind of interesting, I guess, architecturally, is that we actually have a double wall here. So there's an interior wall that you see here that has the window in it, and then there's an exterior wall that sits in front of it, and that's this thing right here, and this face beyond, that aren't really properly calibrated. So this it's kind of a Revit thing. Like, you're never going to see it anywhere else except for a section like this, and even in section, you're looking at it at this scale, so you almost can't even see it. But what you'll notice is the finish for that exterior wall just goes up, and then this this second wall that's built over top of it just kind of sits on top of it. That's generally speaking okay in the world of Revit, because you're not going to detail this in a live view. You're going to just detail it with like drafting components and stuff. So we can emulate that with what we're doing. So let's just real quickly look at our detail condition in section. So if you guys want to follow along, you can. I'm just going to go to View and Section. I'm going to drag one across this view right here and say go to View. I'm looking the opposite direction, so hang on. There we go. Now we're looking the same direction. So this is our section, and it looks very much like what you saw before. Okay, our structure is a little bit different, but yeah, it's basically the same thing. So let's put it on Fine so we can see those finishes, and I'm just going to model a new wall in that space that has the correct finish. So this wall, if you look in elevation, let's get back to this view. Yeah, there we go. So that wall, basically, it's a lap siding wall inside, and then it's a plaster wall on the outside. So we can sort of frame that out just with a second wall. So I'm going to, my software is glitching out a little bit. So I'm going to make this pretty easy on myself, since the software, or rather since the model already has a wall right there. I can just copy another wall. Even in section, I can just copy this forward. Easy enough, right? I'm going to attach this to the roof. And then what you see here is kind of the funny little double wall. You kind of have to clean it up in your second floor condition, because sometimes, like, when you're doing all these like weird, not exactly correct modeling tricks, the connections aren't really right. So what we've got to do is modify with the trim extend corner and make sure this wall is connected to this wall. So that's going to clean up that outer corner for you over here. Okay, that's key. And then secondarily, we have to cut a hole in it. So you have two options to cut a hole and see the material behind. You can edit the profile, and I'm just going to very quickly draw a little hole in it like that. Okay, so that cuts that, and then I can switch the back wall to lap siding. Right, that's one option. The other option is using a wall opening, which functions pretty much the same way. You just need to click the wall, click on wall opening, and then very simply put, I messed that up, hang on. There you go, just click the wall and then draw where you want it to cut. And it looks like it messed up that little corner again. So unfortunately, these corners, you're going to find that one of the most frustrating things for you guys as new Revit users is that these corners get really silly and they keep breaking on you when you're doing weird things. So you know, I'll walk through troubleshooting this stuff with you over time, but you know, if you just kind of like drag the little grip on the wall toward the corner you're trying to rectify, oftentimes it just fixes it for you. So anyway, I've got my opening in the wall, and I'm ready. I mean, you guys probably already have windows in your wall, so you can kind of calibrate it and size it and everything. I'm going to have to go into elevation view to do that. So that's right here. So I'm pretty sure it's going to wind up being something like this. So my base offset at 2'7", I'll just modify that to 2'6". And then my top offset, I want it to fall, let's check the elevation. Actually, it's a little higher. So I'm going to go up to 3 feet on that. and then that goes up to like 6 inches short. So I'm just trying to get it pretty close to what we have there. So this will be 3 feet, and I think the side, it was like a foot off the side. Yeah. That's probably good about where it is. So I'm going to make that 9 feet. And then with the width stuff, you could use the grips if you want, or you could just use a dimension. So I'm going to use dimensions. And I'm going to select this, change this to 1 foot. Actually, I'm going to change this. Oh, this won't let me do that. That's right. Some elements you can't modify with the dimension feature. So I'm going to just draw a line across. So I'm going to make this 16 feet. Actually, does it go that far out? Doesn't quite go that far out. Let's go 15 feet. And then I can just use that grip and just pull it back to there. Whoops, I missed it. You can actually align to a point on something. So I'm going to pull this out. Whoops. I broke it again. If you really wanted to, you could use the align tool and actually align to the dot at the end, which is kind of neat. And then any element is going to align perpendicularly to it. So I did that, and then I click that, and it moves it over. 15 feet, 1 foot, we're good to go. Get rid of that, get rid of that. Now I have to fix that corner again. You know, you guys are going to get used to this. Sometimes they just break. Okay. So anyway, that's what I've got for my opening, and then I can just model my windows into it. So you guys probably already have your windows, so just trim it around the windows. Any questions?
None, Kevin.
All right. So I do want to kind of point out one thing on this is that there are some trim elements that you can see in elevation. So if you're looking at this very carefully, you'll see that there's like a little trim piece that's going around it. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but for now, we're going to keep it simple. So don't try and model every little thing. I think that this might just be, oh, that's actually one of the beams from the roof sticking out. I know what that is. This one, I don't know. So you guys can ignore that. Okay. Questions? All right.